But what comfort's that to William, whose mother's dead because of the bad decisions that you've made?
My trail of bodies doesn't include my own brother.
What's the hell has lost his mind? Are you kidding me? I love it. Make a name for yourself.
It is on, everybody. This is going to be my Oliver versus Diggle video. Obviously, that was only part of the episode, but that's really what they hyped this up as. This is going to be them fighting it out, and obviously big twist at the end. So just careful for spoilers if you haven't seen the episode yet, because maybe you saw that Diggle coming in the distance, maybe you didn't see it coming, but I feel like they're setting this up for a big Season 7 twist. Like, everything just doesn't go back to normal and be happy during Season 7 after what's been happening the last couple of episodes. If you are finding me for the first time, be sure to subscribe to get all the DC videos. Obviously, we have a whole bunch of stuff with Titans that's getting ready to drop real soon too. So instead of doing this normal top 10 style, I'll just go through the episode, but it'll still be like my top 10 video. But you kind of have to call this season of Arrow a series of shockingly bad decisions. That'll be like the new title for the entire series run when it eventually goes off the air. Like, you can kind of see early in the episode, they did a good job of leading you along so you know why it is they build to that fight. Like, you can see the way that Oliver reacts when Felicity says, maybe you should talk to Diggle, and he's like, he's fine, I don't need to talk to him, he's a dude, he gets it, he's not the Green Arrow, I'm the Green Arrow. If you thought Oliver felt weird during the episode, I think they wrote him extra insensitive so that they would build to this much faster, but I'm so happy that they did not drag it out for a couple more episodes. They had their fight, they made up, but eventually Diggle comes around to the more logical idea that it's not being the Green Arrow that he's upset about, it's just Oliver's decisions in general. Because like there's that big WTF moment out in the field where Diggle almost shoots that perp before that girl who's also working for Diaz, big twist, takes him out before he can give up any information. I'm loyal to Diaz, not to this guy, who's also working for Diaz. If it wasn't such a crazy moment, I would have laughed out loud, because there are just layers upon layers to how Diaz has taken the city. And I think that they wanted to get that across with the big twist at the end, where it seems like Black Siren is still on the take, and she gives the DA and the old police chief the idea to indict Oliver with extra charges, like this is just more evidence that he's the Green Arrow because he doesn't want us to investigate him. There were a couple really big WTF moments that I felt like were not good, like, oh, are they really going to do this? One of the funnier ones was the idea that Black Siren could become a lawyer just by reading a couple of Laurel's old textbooks for the last couple of hours. Like, literally, the episode takes place over the course of a day, maybe 2 days if you want to be generous. It's like they're trying to tease her for a redemptive arc. She tries to protect Quentin a little bit, but she's still kind of on the take with Diaz. And then they're doing it and doing Vertigo at the same time, like doing drugs while having sex at the end of the episode. So clearly she's still crazy town banana pants. But I think they want to get her character to the place where it's more plausible that you believe that she would work at least a little bit with Team Arrow during Season 7, because I still think she's going to be around during Season 7. But the sort of backdoor to that is Diaz taunting her with being her true self. Like, you're not this person, you're not this Laurel from Earth 1 who's really good hanging out with her family, helping these friends out. You're above the law, don't study the law. So she seems kind of upset when he says that, like she actually does kind of want some of these things that they're offering her on Earth 1, like this nice life. It seems kind of nice. I think the compromise to that is that she still acts like a total bitch, but she still helps them out every once in a while. There's lots of crazy theories about her becoming another version of the Black Canary. I don't know if they would take it that far. They've killed so many canaries on this TV show. I don't know that they would take it one step further to kill Dinah. Circling back around to that fight between Diggle and Oliver, because that sort of crossed over the entire episode. Like, you have the build-up, then you have the actual fight, then you have sort of the fallout where Diggle quits the team at the end of the episode. The funny thing about the middle of that is when he goes to visit Lila, and she kind of gives him the explainer and talks him through it, and he comes to the conclusion that it's not being the Green Arrow that he's upset about. She's the one that actually gives him the idea, or helps him arrive at the idea, that it's Oliver's leadership that he's really pissed off about. So damn, Lila, taking a shot at Oliver, being a bad team leader. I think it depends on how you feel like Oliver's made decisions the past couple of seasons. Before Season 6 started, Stephen Amell was answering questions about how he'd be affected by the Prometheus arc. Prometheus basically showed him all of his mistakes, so like, how was Oliver going to learn from that and move forward? The conclusion that Stephen Amell came to is the idea that being this deep in the series, how would Oliver be reacting to different situations? Like, would he be acting like Season 1 Oliver, Season 2? Or would he be more calculated, more considerate, making decisions like a hero that's been a hero for several years? But the way that they set this up in this episode, Diggle is basically dragging him back through that Prometheus mud. Like, remember all that stuff that Prometheus said that you did wrong and how you hurt everyone around you? I'm going to remind you of that and throw it in your face. And the only problem I have with this, it makes sense that Diggle would eventually get pissed off with some of the stuff that Oliver does, is that Diggle thought that he could do a better job than Oliver. Diggle is a soldier. They reminded you of that several times during the episode. That doesn't mean that he's a general. Oliver is the general. He calls the shots, which is why it was a little weird that Diggle was upset that Oliver wasn't backing his play. So Diggle was all over the map for about the first half of the episode. But I do really like the idea that they brought it back around to all the stuff that he was doing at the beginning of the season too. Like, he was doing all that jingle jangle, we made fun of it, there were so many memes, and then they just dropped it. Like, it was suddenly gone. Like, oh, we're gonna give you a chip, it's gonna fix you. It's like the Felicity fix. Like, you go from not walking at all, like being the wheelchair hero, to immediately getting up and just walking around like it's no big deal because of some special technology. And that is what you call network television. Like, how long does the hero have to be hurt? Like, do we have to drag this out for a couple more episodes? The funny thing that Mark Guggenheim said behind the scenes too is that sometimes he'll get network notes about that, like when characters get hurt or they get shot with guns. Like, how many scenes have to go by before the character can be back to their old self? But throwing William's dead mother in Oliver's face, that is some dirty pool. Oliver, I love the look on Stephen Amell's face here too, because this is very clearly the setup to a wrestling match. So you're just waiting for the bell to ding, like ding ding, all right, it is on, let's go. The thing I think Stephen Amell does really well is that moment before the explosion. Like, he's so upset that he's expressionless, so I feel like he does that really well. Like, there are certain scenes that I feel like he's more suited for than others, and really crazy stuff like this is his bread and butter, which probably has something to do with him being a lifelong wrestling fan. So just let me know what you thought in general of the wrestling episode of Arrow, and what you think this is going to lead to, because they're basically tearing Oliver's life down around him. You can be the Green Arrow or you can be the mayor. You're stretching yourself too thin, which I do feel like comes from a place of logic. I think the idea is that we're going to get to the end of the season. It's going to be plainly obvious that he is the Green Arrow to everyone, if it wasn't already by the end of this episode. That he's either going to have to come out to the city and say, I am the Green Arrow, like have his I am Iron Man moment, or he's going to have to get rid of Diaz and then leave the city completely. He's not supposed to be the mayor for like 10 more years. There's a ticking clock on his administration, even if he wasn't under indictment. But the big question is if they did leave Star City, where would they go to? Would they just straight up go to Seattle? Like, Seattle is a big location for Green Arrow in the comics, but there've been a lot of times where he's just traveled around. Like, Hard Travel in Hero is one of the most iconic stories. I don't think they would do something like that. I think if they actually did have him leave Star City, you would still have some scenes in Star City, but he would travel around and stay in one place for a period of episodes. But the problem with a lot of this, though, is that, like, you know who the Green Arrow is. Oliver Queen is the Green Arrow, so at no point did you ever feel like Diggle had any claim on being the Green Arrow, so a lot of the storyline felt a little bit weird. I think they just want Oliver to be by himself, alone, against all of this city that Diaz controls, so that you wonder, how the hell is he going to solve this situation? But what'll happen is there'll be some new DC this weekend, obviously a bunch of new Avengers, some new Dragon Ball. I don't know if any of you Arrow fans are big Dragon Ball fans, but turns out like half of my channel are huge Dragon Ball fans. So that's kind of like a new Saturday thing for me. But you can click here for brand new Infinity War and click here for brand new Flash. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.